So you're asking yourself, why is this guy not buying crypto right now? Why is he saying that we need to prepare? Well, in this video, I've got two main reasons to support the reason why I am not buying crypto right now. And it's based entirely on a risk and reward scenario. Now, I don't know about you, but I only make decisions in this industry based on favorable risk and reward outcomes. And this is why I believe the two most obvious and most likely situations are going to benefit myself and maybe those of you who are doing the same thing by not buying right now and just waiting a little bit longer. And I think the reward will be enormous. Now, before we get into this video, guys, do not forget, if you find yourself enjoying this content, but most importantly, learning something new, hit that like button, guys. I spent 20,000 hours, believe it or not, in this industry, researching the do's, the don'ts, and losing a lot of money along the way. So you can help support all I do with a subscribe as well. It definitely makes my day. And with that being said, let's begin. Now, I'm not making this video to convince you to follow in my footsteps. I'm making this video to tell you what I'm doing and what I've seen so far. And given I think most influencers and generally most people in the space are split 50-50 right now in terms of we're going higher and we're going to have a massive crash, I think this is a pretty important discussion for us to have and at least give you an insight into what I'm doing. Now, like I said, I always make decisions in this industry based on risk and reward. Yes, I'll be the first person to admit in the last 7 months, I've definitely made some decisions like buying too soon, not waiting for the market to cool down. And I've definitely learned my lesson in that respect, as I know some of you have as well, but not this time. I'm not making this mistake. And as you'll see in a second here, just sitting on my cash for a little bit longer, I'm talking no more than a month, will likely see a fantastic buying opportunity. Now, before I actually get into these two reasons, I must say, guys, if you don't already know what you're looking at here, this is the green, gray, and red zones I talk so much about on this channel. I have this in our bull run cheat sheet available in the private community. You can see XLR right here has a price prediction, according to data, of about $14. Again, not my personal opinion. This is just data. We have over 100 of these predictions for all these different coins. Now, what this comes out at isn't a 16x, but notice there's something called the green zone here. The green zone is where you're likely going to be able to sell a coin based on high liquidity, where people are still buying when you intend to sell. If you sell in an area that is highly contested amongst sellers and there's no buyers, you will not get out of the coin at all. You will likely end up selling or finding a sticking point somewhere where you least expect it, likely very far down. So why I'm showing you this is because I just wanted to make a very important point before we get into it, that guys, you need to make sure if your portfolio looks like this, where you have coins in all these different crazy price predictions, some in a zone like this red zone here, which is highly unlikely for you to be actually able to sell, or the gray zone, which is a buffer between the red and the green zone, it's a little bit dangerous. You want to be in the green zone, but balance out your coins in your portfolio to be as even as possible amongst these zones. And that looks something like this, where you pretty much pull up and pull down different coins to make sure you're selling realistically and in the green zone for each in a safe way as possible. That's something I think a lot of us aren't doing at the moment. And given the fact that we might move up here or down suddenly, before moving up, because I think we're going to have a massive bull run still regardless of whatever situation plays out in the short term, this is something you have to do now, because when you begin thinking greedily, those price predictions get very skewed, because it's hard to think a coin might only have 2 or 3 more X in the tank when it's gone up 2 or 3X in the last week. So here's the two situations I see playing out. All right. Now I want to hear your feedback down below. I'm not saying again that what I'm saying here is definitely going to happen, but I think in any sense, what I've seen so far is this is likely to occur. First one here is regarding Bitcoin dominance. What we're actually waiting for here is Bitcoin's dominance. This is Bitcoin's dominance here in this yellow line to actually exceed where it is right now. It's at a very important point, actually. We're right on track here. It needs to kind of, in my opinion, exceed the 60% dominance level. I've pointed out 70% as a key level because 70%, historically speaking, has been the point where it's exceeded. It's sucked up most of the interest in the crypto market, pulled away from altcoins and everything else, and then all of a sudden it comes down and crashes. The crash is the most important point, because the crash is when ETH and altcoins begin to move up. But why I'm saying this is we have to have Bitcoin take the lead, take the charge, and build momentum for the whole market, and then have people take profits, therefore dominance falls down, and then people move their profits into buying more speculative assets like Alt and Ethereum. This usually happens after influencers. This is regular influencers, of course, not crypto influencers, large celebrities, and also things like ETFs and other important news that comes along the timeline is released, and massive press on Bitcoin and the bull run has begun. It's in the news and headlines. this is when most people get FOMO and, buy in. Now, if you want to know what that feels like, if those of you who bought the recent pump, I'm talking the last few days here, thinking we're going to break out, even though there was nothing to actually support this breakout in terms of it wasn't validated just yet, you know firsthand that it's very easy to feel FOMO and you're already in crypto. Imagine those people who have no exposure to this market, that feeling of FOMO hits like nothing else. So they will get FOMO, they will buy in. I am very confident of this. It's a matter of time. We're waiting for Bitcoin to first of all push. There's no real number in sight. I've said 70%. I do think that we probably won't go as high as exactly 70%, likely between 60 to 65%, but I'm more so-called interested here in the trigger that will actually cause this, because the way that we're going, it looks great, right? We're moving up and up and up, but usually we've had a massive spike and then that massive crash has come. And that makes sense because, again, we want to have that mass interest in Bitcoin, which causes the breakout moment for Bitcoin's dominance before, again, that begins to fizzle off and drain. Now, so we could talk about numbers all day, 60%, 62, 64. I think if we're looking at numbers here, we're going to go crazy. I think we kind of have to look for either that pump and then that massive sharp dump, or at least from here, maybe we, trickle to 60%. We want to see that crash, at least just that crash, because that crash indicates money is flowing out of Bitcoin, people are taking profits, and therefore it is flowing into alts, which is where we're trying to make our money. Those curious timelines I'm looking at in this case here range anywhere between this pump happening from about January, based on the last 2 cycles history, right up to absolute latest October of 2025. And over here for the dump usually, by the way, the bottoming moment here, you can see down here it's occurred, and over here is usually the all-time high for the entire crypto market. So we're kind of looking between the dates of April to November of next year, which makes sense. This actually falls in both the lengthening cycle theory and also the regular cycle theory, where people expect the crypto market to either end or come close to ending between Q2, Q1 of next year, all the way through to Q3, Q4. So again, I think this is actually going to play out quite similarly to previous cycles as well. So there's your timeframes, guys, but I do think that we'll likely see a top moment around January, maybe even sooner, and then that sharp decline probably around this time as well, April to November, which would again signal the top of the market. Let's take a quick break from the video to briefly discuss an awesome new altcoin built from the gaming powerhouse themselves, Seedify. That's right, this new gaming altcoin has been built in-house by Seedify since 2021 and has a current team of 175 people. Now, are there any guesses as to what this might actually be? Well, if you've been doing your hidden gem research, you might have guessed Seedworld, which you'd be correct. Seedworld is a super impressive altcoin, but not only because it's got the full backing of crypto's biggest and most reputable gaming launchpad, but because of what the game actually is. Seedworld is building a virtual world where users are the creators of their own universe with endless gaming and creative possibilities. As a user, you can literally build your own lands, create epic games, and then battle it out in your custom environment like Minecraft, except 3D PvP, and there's even curated game modes for you to enjoy. Imagine a world where you are not just playing a game, but actually building one and interacting with it in ways you only wished you could have in the past. But that is simply Seedworld. From survival shooters to immersive adventures, they have all the possibilities and they are endless. This is especially interesting because the coin will be launching today, as a matter of fact, October 23rd, at only a $3 million market cap, which is significantly smaller than its gaming competitors like Sandbox, Decentraland, and other side, who have an average market cap of $600 million, which is a 200x growth potential from today's prices. Not to mention, of course, most of these competitors went above a $1 billion market cap in the last cycle, which is at least a 333x. Now, look, I won't sit here and say that that's actually guaranteed, but comparing Seedworld's game with competitors, it does blow them out of the park. If we assess the huge team, the support from Seedify, and the impressive supply shock value the coin has from day one, it's bound to create a splash. Now, the supply shock is actually very cool. Seedworld have decided to allow users to stake their S-World tokens in a pool for a period of time in exchange for increasingly beneficial lands and islands, which are required for in-game crafting and use cases. Basically, they're just super important in-game, so users are going to want to stake to get their hands on these, aka a supply shock. There is so much to discuss about Seedworld, I just simply don't have the time for it in this video, so make sure you follow them with the links down below, and remember, the TGE is today, so do your own research ASAP. And with that said, let's get back to the video. Now, it's very important, Bitcoin can crash, but we do want to make sure that altcoins actually benefit from it crashing in terms of its dominance, the dominance I'm talking about here, okay, Bitcoin will still likely go up. Because its dominance falls doesn't mean it's going to go down in terms of price. Its dominance will definitely drop. We want to make sure that ETH and particularly altcoins are there to pick up the slack and where that money eventually moves into, which will look something like this. So, Bitcoin falls, and we'll see ETH in this purple color here again at that same time as Bitcoin goes down, spike, and then in that same respects as well, altcoins will pull up and push up. Okay, but that must happen. And in history, ETH usually leads the altcoin charge. It normally pumps first and then alts are right behind it. And as you can see here, Bitcoin is definitely in the lead, which is what we want. We want to see Bitcoin right now far and away breaking out from these two different asset classes, if you will. But again, when that breaks down, these will move up. Now, I do want to make an important point though. Okay, so we've seen in the past, again, Bitcoin moves up and alts actually sharply move down before that transition happens. And while we are at that point right now, you have to also consider the fact that Bitcoin has been moving up for quite some time. So in reality, okay, while I think that step one is to push up, then step two to push down, followed by ETH and then alts, I actually do think just a simple crash could just simply signify this. We'll see what plays out. We can play semantics here. We can sort of sit and analyze every situation. But again, that most important thing for me is seeing that rapid crash. If anything, that's what I'm looking out for. And if you're asking yourself, well, Kyron, is this going to signify carnage for altcoins? Because at the end of the day, as I showed you here in the previous cycle, as Bitcoin rose so rapidly, pretty much the same energy was occurring for altcoins, but in the opposite direction. And the answer to that is no. Bitcoin just absorbs the interest and some liquidity from the alt. So it does pull some of the market caps out. People do sort of get out of their altcoins and go into Bitcoin, but most importantly, it just pulls an interest from the mass market, from the world, and that of course causes Bitcoin to go up. It just instills confidence in people, allows them to make some money and then reinvest that into the smaller coins. So you can see this screenshot I was taken here from this actual moment right here, about 20th of December, which was right here, pretty much at the lows of alts and the highs of Bitcoin. And you can see these things aren't actually up all that much, okay? They're not looking crazy. They're not up or down. They're just simply pretty much moving sideways. So you're not going to find alts go to zero or they're going to plummet. But again, the market cap or the overall money invested in crypto is primarily going to Bitcoin, which means Bitcoin is breaking away and alts just kind of dwindle down because it's moving up so hard and so fast without them sort of keeping up to speed with everything. That would likely give us a good chance to buy altcoins. So by me not DCAing a bunch right now, and again, DCAing's fine, but I guess going all in on the remaining cash I do have at this moment out of FOMO, I think is a smart decision, because if Bitcoin does, and again, historically move up from this point in time, we're going to still have some good chances to buy altcoins. And given that Bitcoin does move up, we'll likely be validated in that, hey, we're broken out of this sort of pattern we're in right now. We're out of the chop and it's going to move up. And then eventually we can go, okay, well, maybe it's time to actually begin, executing on some of these positions. And not all altcoins will follow this same philosophy at that. Some will move up with Bitcoin, some will move down even further. It all just does depend, but that's of course why we are diversified. Now, number two is pretty simple actually, okay? And that's just simply Bitcoin falls. So the first example, we spoke about Bitcoin going up. And again, that kind of just confirms that the bull run is officially on, and it signals to us that, hey, alts are going to pump up here very soon because Bitcoin's just taken the lead. But what if Bitcoin crashes, right? So that's a very dangerous situation. But again, it doesn't really matter, because if Bitcoin crashes due to maybe the elections happening here in the next couple of weeks, guess what? It's going to be overall fear for the whole market. And we all know what happens then. Everything goes down with it. Okay. And this is what I'm saying, guys. You can really pull your hair out here with a whole bunch of different opinions from influencers, especially if you're on Twitter. Like just in the last day, I saved about 20 different posts from like 5 different influencers talking about how they know for certain the market's going down or up. This was a great post here. I'll leave this down below. I was going to read this post. It's quite long. I really wanted to read this post on this video, but it's going to take 5 minutes. And I think you guys should go ahead and read it in your own time. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, Sky. I just come across his page recently, but this is a really, really well-timed, well-written post given what I've just sort of said. Okay. He pretty much goes on to say like DCAing is the most important thing right now. But if you're someone who bought in and FOMO'd into the recent pump, you are down right now. And it's just likely to prove the point that macro speaking, guys, we haven't broken key levels just yet. We haven't confirmed that Bitcoin's out of this range and out of this zone, and we are likely going to be hitting all new highs and basically going close to 100K, as many people have been saying. When in doubt, zoom out. While on the short time frame, Bitcoin might pump 5 or 10%. If in a macro sense we aren't breaking out of these sort of channels, then we just need to simply sit and wait. And again, going back to point one, it doesn't really matter all that much until it comes crashing down, in which alts will then respond accordingly. So of course, we have those of you who might know Credible Crypto, a sort of channel favorite. He of course is calling and has been calling for quite some time now for us to come falling down to around 60K, if not a little bit lower. We have people like Rand from Banter saying that the market's going to be going up and we're at key levels. Again, you can pull your hair out, but I think Miles confirms it, what I'm sort of thinking here perfectly. Macro-wise, he's still not anticipating Bitcoin to make its all-time high attempt until post-election. Until then, things are likely going to remain a little bit choppy. We have 13 days until this happens. And again, we don't want to make politics the bee's knees, but it is important in a situation in a market like crypto where we may pump or temporarily crash depending on the outcome of this. But I think whoever wins, we are likely going to have a great bull run still. Temporary, surge or temporary plummet, but mid to long term, we're going to be fine, I do believe anyway. So that's why I'm holding cash, guys. I actually have about 95% of my net worth in crypto right now. So again, let me just say I have a lot of money in crypto. So I'm not concerned if we pump here out of the blue and let's say all of this is wrong. I'm still happy at the end of the day. That is one thing that Sky did mention as well. He's significantly in the market. So if he can't DCA as he wants to with the remaining cash he has, he's okay with that, as am I. And that little 5% I have of my net worth still to put into crypto that I do have a desire to put in, guess what? If we somehow make a mistake and Bitcoin and altcoins break the trend, break the 8-year-long cycle pattern, and they move up together, well, guess what? We just DCA later on down the track. I'm still in most of my positions. So I don't know your situation. I'm just telling you my situation and what I think the two scenarios that may occur here will play out like. But again, I want to hear your thoughts down below. Let me know, guys. Talk to you all soon. Take good care.